Good afternoon, Will Zwar with ABC News. The federal opposition has used question time to mock the government's plans to spend more than $120 million on a postal vote on same-sex marriage. Jane Norman reports from Parliament House. One Nation Senator Malcolm Roberts' future will be decided by the High Court. Richard Baines has more from Parliament House. The state opposition leader Matthew Guy says Liberal leaders will discuss the possibilities of standing down the party figure at the centre of secret phone recordings discussing the plot to split donations from alleged mafia figures. Mr Guy says he knows nothing about the calls that capture Barry McMillan discussing splitting donations from alleged Melbourne mafia boss Tony Medafri and 3 relatives into party coffers. He believes Mr McMillan, who's the secretary of the Dunkley Federal Electorate Conference, will move on. Mr Guy says it's up to Mr McMillan to explain the calls. The state opposition says an Auditor-General's report into V-Line shows that Andrews' government is letting down regional communities. The Public Transport Minister, Jacinta Allen, insists V-Line is back on track with nearly 600 new services added across the state. But the opposition spokesman, David Hodgett, says the V-Line's poor service, reliability issues and overcrowding are clear in the report. A woman has been taken to hospital in a critical condition after suffering burns in a unit fire in St Albans. Firefighters found the 60-year-old woman lying on the bathroom floor in the Margrave Street unit. Another woman and 6-year-old girl were taken to the Sunshine Hospital in stable conditions. The cause of the fire is being investigated. To sport, and former Essendon captain Joe Watson has announced he'll retire from the AFL at the end of the season. The 32-year-old was the captain of the Bombers during the club's supplement scandal and became the spokesman for the 34 players who were suspended for doping for the 2016 season. Watson was the league's highest individual award in 2012, but was declared ineligible for the award last year because of the doping case. And in the NRL, Melbourne Storm fullback Billy Slater says the heavy concussion he suffered against Canberra a fortnight ago will have no impact on whether he decides to retire at the end of the season. Slater was knocked out by a high shot from Sia Soliola, which saw Raiders lock suspended for 5 weeks. Slater says the incident won't have any bearing on his future in the game. To the weather, and there's a severe weather warning for the damaging winds in the central, southwest, north central, northeast and Gippsland districts, and a strong wind warning for the west coast and east Gippsland coast. For Victoria, a generally dry day apart from isolated showers about Gippsland and the eastern ranges. On the bays, northerly winds of 10 to 15 knots increasing to 15 to 25 knots late this afternoon and this evening. For Melbourne, cloud increasing and the day's expected top of 17. Tomorrow, a possible late shower, windy and 18. In the city, now it's 15. This is ABC News. As part of the AFL International Cup, the Canadian AFL team has travelled across the world to compete and make its way through the global ranks. Head coach Cody Royal thanked the hospitality of the Waverley Blues Football Club, who played host to the Canadians with a Thursday night training session and a home game, providing the Canada Northwind with insight into the Australian game on its home soil.
The best thing for us is the boys being able to see what real footy is like. To be able to come down Thursday night, have a meal, see what a training session is like with 40 guys. That's huge for them because a lot of the clubs back home, they might train with 5 or 10 guys.
Waverley Blues Vice President Dwayne Wathen says the Eastern Football League club also benefited from the partnership.
We're really happy as a club and as a committee to have this event here. We expect probably 2 or 3 times the size of the normal crowd that would normally get. More people buying food and drink helps us run the club. If any of our players want to go over to Canada to play, there's a connection there now as well.
While both the Waverley and the Canadian teams will gain exposure from the alliance, Northwind's vice-captain Clayton Lund said it was an honour for the players to pull on the national colours.
Everybody was nervous and antsy. This is a big thing for a lot of people to put the maple leaf on your chest and represent your country.
Both parties hope they can continue the partnership in the future, as Canada has their sights set on competing with European teams in the coming years. Will Zwar, Mojo News.